Welcome everyone, Costini here with a discussion about Gorbad, Ironclaw in Total War Warhammer 3, Omens of Destruction DLC, and why his unique campaign mechanic, the plan, is complete rubbish. Now, Gorbad is not a bad legendary lord, although his faction effects, well, let's just say they aren't particularly great, or they don't work. So for instance, you're supposed to get the global recruitment duration of -1 turn, but well, that means that things like Orc Archer boys should be recruited in a single turn. They aren't. And that is representing a problem. So that doesn't work. What about the 15% income from raising a settlement? Well, let's just raise a settlement just so I can prove a point over here. When you loot and occupy this particular settlement, you have 1400 gold, or 2700 if I sack it, or 500 if I raise it. Yeah, raising settlements is a really dumb thing to do as greenskins. I mean, even as Khorne, if you're raising a settlement for money, it's a dumb thing. The reason you raise a settlement is because you don't have the skulls to occupy it, and because you want to get the campaign movement reach. But raising a settlement for money, it's not going to work. You would need a substantially higher amount of money in order to make that work. And why not raise a settlement, occupy it later, build a barracks in said settlement, repair it, build a barracks, and then sell it to another faction. Now, for what it's worth, beyond the issues of the terrain with the Badlands, because there are terrain issues over here, in particular in the western and southern Badlands. But beyond terrain issues, this is actually a complicated campaign, because you start over here in Black Crag, but you have your victory condition, your short campaign victory condition requires you to take the western Badlands, the southern Badlands, the eastern Badlands. So you've got the complicated situation over here with plenty of legendary lords that hate each other, hate you because you're greenskin. So you got dwarves, Skarsnik, Queek, Tretch, Scarbrand, and potentially, you know, others like Cetra, or more importantly, Forik, to deal with. So it is a mess of a campaign situation that you have to untangle. So you don't have really time to fuck around, because if you fuck around in this campaign, well, you will pay a significant price. Now, Gorbad's lord effects and skill line are actually pretty solid. Upkeep, various abilities, leadership RSIs, more effects, character experience, research rate. The boss has a plan. Various melee, defense, attack, and weapon string for melee infantry, all armies, faction-wide, and other benefits for his army or for himself. So there is a pretty good skill line over there. There's some good lord effects. His weapon, not necessarily the best weapon in the world, but it does get the job done. But the plan, holy shit, is this thing annoying to deal with. First off, the only way to use tactics from the plan is to acquire them with battles won by Gorbad Ironclaw. I think that they're really trying to push the idea that Gorbad is like a Khorne lord for greenskins. It just doesn't work out. There's reasons why I say that. The raising income benefit and, yeah, something else that I'll get into in just a moment. So basically, you have a limited number of plans. This is not really an issue early on in your campaign, but it is an issue longer term, because you'll just literally run out of plans. So all that so-called variety that people are talking about with Gorbad, it's a bunch of rubbish, because realistically, you won't be able to maintain enough plans to equip more than 2 free armies. And let me just say this, greenskins, especially in a longer term campaign, are all about maintaining a lot of armies. Even if your recruitment slots have been limited, you are incentivized playing the greenskins to go for a bunch of units. Or to go for a bunch of armies. That's how you make effective use of your resources in a campaign. You don't recruit the best units. You're like an army like this is kind of a waste of resources. Actually, it is a waste of resources, because I have all those fucking forest spiders over here that are genuinely a waste. Would have been better had I put a bunch of goblin bolt throwers Yeah, you know things are screwed up with Orc Artillery when bolt throwers are a good unit for them. No, bolt throwers from Wish. But regardless, you want to talk about army variety? Recruit man-eaters from ogre camps. That will actually give you more army variety than Gorbad's so-called tactics. Because a lot of this stuff is either annoying to unlock. Like, for instance, you might have a research that does take a while. Like, it takes so long to unlock some of the stuff. And this is the easiest stuff. Like, kill 2,500 enemies with Doom Diver countables. First, you gotta unlock that. Then you gotta do it. And then you have to maintain Goblin Wolf Riders and Doom Divers in an army to make it work. On top of maintaining the tactics in an army which are limited to 3 slots. Let's compare this to Malachi. I mean, in this campaign, he's wiped out, but let's compare it to Malachi. Malachi, who also has a fairly brutal campaign, complex situation surrounded by enemies. In fact, it's probably worse now that Arbol is sharing the border with him. Like, imagine having a guy next to you who's just going to show up with stacks of Chosen, because Arbol will do that. In fact, he'll probably do that very quickly in this campaign, knowing AI growth, recruitment slots, all kind of things. So, enjoy that. But consider Malachi. Malachi has those adventures which give various buffs to certain units. But those are global. You don't have to micromanage the buffs in every single army. You can acquire those buffs with any army, do those objectives, so you can have one army conquering, or multiple armies conquering territory, and you just send one army or two to get the buffs if you want to. Plays well as well with the Dwarf Confederation mechanic. So you can do that. On top of that, you get a bunch of free units of the type you're looking to buff. So you want to buff gyrocopters or gyrobombers, you get those units for free, and then you get to use them. And then you get those buffs by doing battle, not by doing some annoying things. Like, oh, I need this number of units in our army to get a tactic for our army that only affects certain units. That is annoying. So the so-called army variety isn't even that great. Again, limitations of the plans, the annoyance of unlocking the plans, the requirements of units, and the constant micromanagement. They were trying to do another Malachi campaign, and what they ended up doing is an Astankia campaign 2.0. And I'm quite serious on this. Well, Astankia has also been wiped out in this campaign. And the reason I say that, Astankia gets a bunch of army buffs, right? But the problem with Astankia, with all those individual unit buffs, is that it's constant tedium. You don't even care about them. You don't really need them unless like you're dealing with multiple stacks of troops at the same time. But you need to unlock them. And you need to get them every single turn. So every turn when you're playing as a Astankia, you don't even care about the buffs you're getting. You just go open the tab, click the buttons so that you can unlock more campaign abilities, including teleportation, in her campaign. That is Astankia's campaign in a nutshell. This is not quite as bad as that, but it is very fucking close. What's even worse about this is like people talking about variety. Let me tell you what's actually really good over here. Because there are some things that are worth it, far more so than, oh, I can get missile block chance for Goblin Infantry over here. Though that wouldn't be too bad, but you do require to get that particular upgrade before you can use it. Or maintain a Squig Herd unit in an army, which is a tier 1 unit. Maintain that to get flaming attacks from missile units. Flaming attacks are great, but I'm losing a unit slot. But here's the thing. Here's what's actually good. The power of the Wa. Use 10 spells with a shaman that you start with, and you get 20% wins of magic cost, minus 25% cooldown, and plus 5 wins of magic. This is far better than the vast majority of things over here, even for the highest level. Like, compare that to sacrificing 2 or even more, I don't know how many slots it requires, but imagine sacrificing multiple slots once you get Arachnarok Spiders as a recruitment just to get the Brood Mother's ability for Arachnarok Spiders, a leadership for Forest Spiders. Versus 20% wins a magic cost reduction. Oh, even better. 15% campaign, 15% upkeep, 10% campaign movement range, 30% vigor loss reduction for your entire army if you maintain 2 heroes in an army. Yeah, that beats the crap out of the vast majority of other things. And the final one that you might want to go for is the one that requires you to go to Solent. This requires you to send the character to Solent, does require you to have 2 boar boys and 2 wolf riders in an army, but you get 25% campaign movement range after winning a battle. Or you might even fly out to ignore all of that and just go for raiding parties where you sacrifice 3 army slots, and yes, I do mean sacrifice because these guys are useless, in an actual battle, sacrifice that to get 25% income from sacking and looting settlements. Like, in fact, you could even throw away the magical benefit unless you absolutely need it, and just go for income from sacking settlements, campaign movement range, and regimental. Nothing else even freaking compares, except for something that literally requires you to get to tier 5. And that, where is that particular benefit? No, not there. Maybe it's in bigger strength. Yeah, it is here. Recruit a total of 2 rogue idol units, and now you can use tunneling to engage in battle against an enemy. That is the only one that could even compare to the other 2. So it's fluff, it's pointless, it's a waste of time, it's annoying, it's micromanagement. You have temporary buffs to an army that you basically want to keep on as much as 100% of the time. It just adds to a bunch of wasted time on the campaign map to get these kind of benefits. Because you look at this benefit, you know, this is actually not a bad one. It lasts 8 turns with a 1 turn cooldown once it expires. But other things aren't necessarily, other things are not necessarily going to be so great with the cooldown. Like, they might have a 3 turn cooldown. So if you're building armies with the idea, oh, I can get variety of armies, well, you got the free, it lasts 8 turns, but then you get the 3 turn cooldown. What are you gonna do for those 3 turns? As opposed to, you know, just recruiting a massive stack of freaking big guns, black orcs, stone trolls, and artillery. What is the damn point? The income benefits are worth it. That is a worthy sacrifice, right? I'll take 3 wolf riders in my army. I'll use them for extra sacking income. I'll do that in a campaign. I'll take even 2 boar riders on top of that to get campaign movement range. But everything else is just feels like utterly fluff in a campaign. And that is the problem. Just a really badly designed system, and I really feel that the people designing, all the people that designed the new campaigns, I mean, Goldfag is the best out of them, but the people designing these campaigns clearly need to understand how the game is actually played. The campaign map, the dilemmas that we face in a campaign. Whoever designed Arbol clearly understood that. Whoever designed Malachi understood that. The design of Gorbad, the design of Skulltaker, like, you put the guy in Lustria and you flag ignore that, yeah, Lustria is broken if you raise settlements. That says quite a bit from my perspective. Don't get me wrong, I think the DLC is good because of the racial reworks, the new units, all that. That's good. But the actual campaigns, meh. I used to say that Gorbad is a B tier. It's kind of B tier. Like, I don't think he's lower than that because it is an interesting campaign, but the unique mechanics are pretty crap. I'm gonna say that much. Costin signing out.